So recently, my motorcycle mechanic told me that there was a gentleman nearby who was looking to sell an old CB350 and wanted it out of his garage. So I went to check it out, and I could see why he was getting rid of it. He hadn't driven it in about 18 years. The garage was not terribly dry, and so there was a lot of rust. Something was up with the clutch. It was not shifting. It appeared to be seized. I did manage to get it into neutral, kicked it over a couple of times, and then the engine did turn, but there was no compression. Then after a couple more kicks, there was compression. I think there was a valve that was stuck. There's about, I think, 12,000 miles on the clock, but lots of rust. Rust on the forks, rust on the chrome, rust pretty much everywhere. There's an old battery in it. The starter does spin, although it doesn't sound like it's catching anything. Rust under the seat. The chrome's very pitted, so I'm not sure how that's going to come back. But needless to say, I did decide to buy it. I offered the seller just a little bit of money, and he was happy to just get it out of his garage. We loaded it up into a truck, and I brought it home. I like working on old bikes. This one's I've actually had bikes in worse shape than this. And I've worked on a bunch of 350s, and they're pretty bulletproof. It came with one side cover. I asked him if he could find the other side cover somewhere in his garage, but we'll see about that. So I went about doing my thing. I checked for spark. There was only spark on one side. I cleaned the carbs in an ultrasonic cleaner and blew them out with an air compressor. The points were a dog. Basically, if you see the left points, they're really long. They ended up grounding out against the case. So I swapped out those points with points from a parts bike that I've got. And here's a little walk around. I managed to get spark on both sides, and I had the carbs cleaned. And then I also rebuilt the air filters with some K&N foam. So I buttoned it all back together again. And as you can see, there's going to be a lot of work. I'm still trying to decide how far I want to go with this, but lots of oxidation on the engine covers. I had to wire in new coils. The coils were both sort of melted. You could see resin coming out of them, so I pulled that off of the parts bike as well as the condenser. So those work. Lots of all the cables are there, which is nice, but the clutch cable is still wonky. I'm not sure what's going on there. Lots of pitting. Not really, short of having these fenders sandblasted, I'm not quite sure what to do with them. The pipes are decent. They don't seem to have any holes in them, but there's a big patch you'll see on the right-hand muffler. No big issues with the carbs. One float needed to be replaced, and I had to make one gasket, but that wasn't a big deal. There's the patch job you can see on the right muffler. And so with all that, I squirted some gas into the carbs, and I gave it a shot. Sprayed a little starter fluid to get it going, and here's the first start attempt, which is 48 hours into owning this rust bucket.